Okay, this is an overview of the reviews for 8-3 and 8-4. Um, and really, the first set of problems really sets the tone for everything. Simplify each product using the distributive property. You can multiply polynomials using the distributive property. Now, you're probably used to using distributive property in a different manner where you have A times B plus C, where you're multiplying A times B and then A times C to get A, B plus A, C. But this can be generalized to polynomials of any degree. Let's say if we have A plus B times C plus D. You can multiply A times C and A times D, and then B times C and B times D, which gives you A C plus A D plus B C plus B D. So look at our review sheet and just take this first one, x plus 3 times x plus 8, multiply x times x gives you x squared, x times 8 plus 8x, and then you have 3 times x plus 3x and 3 times 8 plus 24. So we have x squared plus 11x, because 8 plus 3 is 11, plus 24. Now, with this distributive property, you can pretty much do all the problems in, most all the problems in 8-3 and 8-4. You don't have to use, they give you other methods of doing it, and she might want you to show some other method. But if it doesn't say use this particular property, you can just use this distributive property for everything. The other methods might be a little faster for certain classes of problems. Okay, so let's look at some of the other problems we've got. So simplify each product using a table. So to do that, you can set up a table for solving this. Where you have a slots, it's an ugly table. Just draw yourself a table. Then you put your terms across the top. We have this first one, we have x plus 3, so we got a put a x and a 3. Down the side we'll have x minus 5. Have x minus 5. And so we just say x times x be x squared. X times 3 be 3x. X times minus 5 be minus 5x. 3 times minus 5 is negative 15. And you just combine your like terms. We have a 3x and a minus 5 will be a minus 2. So we have to start off with the first term. The highest degree term is x squared. 3x minus 5 is minus 2. So minus 2x minus 15. Alright, FOIL method. First, 2x squared outside plus 6x inside minus 6x last. Minus 6 times 3 is minus 18. The positive 6x and the minus 6x cancel out, so you end up with 2x squared minus 18. The FOIL method is really just a way to remember the distributive property for binomials, because you're still doing 2x times x, 2x times 3, negative 6x times x, negative 6x times 3. So it's really just the distributive property all over again. But it's just easy to remember FOIL. Okay, so then they give you these problems, simplify each product. Now in this case, before we were doing binomials, where it's a binomial has two terms, so 2 terms here and 2 terms here. But on these, okay, this is a binomial, but this is a trinomial. So with multiplying a trinomial, the FOIL method won't work here, because it's like, okay, first, but then there's more than an outside, inside. So, but the distributive property still works. So that's why I say if you remember the distributive property, you can do all the problems. So let's look at this. Okay. Using the distributive property, I can multiply x times x squared to get x cubed. Multiply x times negative 2x, which gives you negative 2x squared. X times 4, which gives you a positive 4x. 3 times x squared gives you a positive 3x squared. 3 times negative 2x, which is negative 6x. And 3 times 4, which gives you a positive 12. And combine like terms, we have x cubed, okay, minus 2x plus the 3x gives you x squared, positive x squared. Okay, 4x minus 6x gives you a negative 2x. And then end up with a positive 12. So, all of these problems, again, you remember the distributive property, you can do everything. Okay? So that's all of the 8.3. I'm going to look at 8.4. So really what you have here, x plus 7 squared is the same thing as saying x plus 7 times x plus 7. So having it like this, you can FOIL it. You can use the table method. You can use the distributive property. I'm just going to use the distributive property. X times x equals x squared. X times 7 equals 7x. 7 times x equals 7x. And 7 times 7 equals 49. You combine these two like terms, now 7x plus 7x, that's going to be 14x. X squared plus 14x plus 49. Somebody figured out when you have this pattern, x plus something squared, you can always square the first term, square the last term, and multiply the first term times the last term times 2. So if we look at this, number 2, we can say square the first term, w squared, square the last term, 81, and then w times 9 is 9w, 9 times 2 is 18, so we have in the middle 18w. So all of these can be done like that, whether it's a positive or a negative. Here we have a negative binomial. So we say a squared, and then we can say a times minus 5 is minus 5a times 2 is minus 10a. And then square the last term, 5 times 5 is 25. Again, get stuck, just convert it to the two binomials, a minus 5 times a minus 5, and FOIL it or distribute it, which you already know how to do, and you get the answer.